we've come to that part of the show where we're going to show you a NOFX interview and then playing live right here from the London Astoria.
So till next week, rock hard, rock heavy, rock pogo in a punk type style.
I'm cold, Crusher.
Oh, shut up, woman.
Here it is, the Bako Tunes podcast with Matt Munoz. Audio brought to you by Chain Cone Clark.
I'd been waiting to find out if I was going to be able to interview one of you guys, and when Vanessa said, hey, I got Melvin, I said, okay, I'm going to stop what I'm doing today, and I got you on the phone, so because I know you got a lot of things to do, let's jump into this.
Yeah, sure. I'm ready, Matt.
Okay, so this is the final tour. You know we've been hearing about it for a while, and we're just kind of getting ready for those last shows. But what I'd like to do is, of course, I'm like I said, I go way back with you guys in the '80s. I want to kind of do a little time machine thing here. Won't spend too much time on it because that could be a novel and hours and hours and hours. But I mean,
yes.
I'm a big, huge nostalgia history geek, and when you talk about the formation of NOFX, early '80s. And according to what I've read, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, was it 1983 is kind of like where you guys kind of sprouted? Was it 1983?
Yes, 1983, yes.
Yeah. So, of course...
The three of us, we were little skater punks, just discovering the punk rock scene, and all the bands were coming to L.A., and it was a great place to be that age at that time.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, that's what I always tell people. I said, you have no idea how... amazing. And I always point it to the Reagan years, because the Reagan years were the punk rock years, man. I mean, that's where everybody kind of found their voice. We were all just about ready to kind of like either you're drifting in that 15, 16, 17-year-old, but you're finally kind of conscious of what the world's going on and stuff like that. But of course, all that soon-to-be classic U.S. punk is new at the time. So you got the Black Flag, you got Minutemen, Husker Du, of course, Fishbone, stuff that's going on in LA, X, the Brits are doing those things, but also at the same time, you're kind of saying this, Dead Kennedys are about to get pulled into the Frankenchrist obscenity trial, and, punk is still very much outside the mainstream. Now, where I was growing up, I'm even from a smaller town away from Bakersfield. I'm from the tiny farming town of McFarland. So in Bakersfield, we had to find punk rock, and the Central Valley stuff, we had to go to the nearest kind of bigger city, Fresno or anything like that, where any sort of punk band was rarely going to come through on their tour because, there was no places to play. But as far as what stands out the most from your punk existence as a youth from that early time period just before NOFX begins to form?
It felt so different. It felt so outside. It really did. It felt like outside of everything that I knew at the time. There was like rock and roll was still pretty
was it the classic
Boston?
Oh, okay.
Boston, and let's see, Styx and whatever 70s
arena stuff.
And it had a rebellious edge to it, for what was mainstream at the time. But then, when I discovered punk rock, it was so different. It was so artsy. It was so just like doing it to express yourself, to be different, talking about things that nobody else was talking about, which at the time was like, girls and partying and stuff. And punk rock was talking about social things and political things, and the music itself was so different. It was so like whoa, how does that like make sense, even what I'm hearing? But it sounded cool, and it had all that energy, even more energy than rock and roll.
Well, what was the first instrument that you picked up? Was it bass guitar, or were you a drummer? Or everybody kind of starts somewhere.
Yeah, guitar. I had an acoustic guitar, and I learned Yellow Submarine. And which was beautiful, but it was like my parents' music, and sure, I listened to it. I listened to the Beatles, and I listened to Elton John, and that was my parents' music, which was beautiful. But then even when I first discovered, I guess it was the first Police record, and I'm trying to remember the timing of it all. I won't get it right. Was the like Devo, Are We Not Men?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is different. This is very different. And I thought it was amazing. And then shortly after that, I told this story in our book, The Hepatitis Bathtub. I had gone away not away for the summer, but school was out for the summer, and I worked a job. And when school came back in session, I saw my friend I hadn't seen really all summer, and he was like, "You would not believe what I did this summer. I went to this place called Godzilla's, and I saw these bands." And I was like, "Whoa, what? Well, like what?" And he played for me Circle Jerk's Group Sex album.
Yes,
and I was like, "Whoa, wow, this is really different. This is a whole other place than I didn't even imagine." And I loved it. And he said to me, "This is punk rock. I'm a punk rocker now." And I was like, "Whoa." And he said, "Wouldn't it be funny if you were a punk rocker too?" Yeah. And we like kind of giggled at each other, and we were like, I don't know, 13, 14, something like that. Before I was driving, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. So beautiful with that.
Yeah, I was obsessed.
Yeah, man. It just, I feel you on that. Now, okay, so you're kind of going through these things. You're coming into your own. You're finding starting to kind of like these developing. You're like, this is what I want to do. Now, who made the first move to start the band? NOFX.
Hi. Again, some of this was in our book, The Hepatitis Bathtub.
Okay.
I went to Fairfax High School, and there was a group of punk rock kids who were there, and some of them were a little older, and I was part of this sort of younger group. And the older kids, they had a band. A couple of them were in a band, and they, it'd be like Friday, they're going to rehearse, and we all like went to their rehearsal and sort of turned it into a party and hung out while they rehearsed. And then afterwards, out in front, I'm trying to remember the name of the rehearsal studio. I can picture it, of course.
Yeah. Well, I'll go and look in the book, because I think we could, you have a lot of stuff that's in the book, but like let me just kind of narrow it down. So when you decided you're going to start the band, was it, as far as the band as we knew it, as a formation of NOFX, were you kind of like the one who spearheaded that? Like,
it was me.
It was you.
It was me. I had a friend who was my age. We were the younger punkers, and he played drums. And I said, let's start our own band. These guys have something. Let's start our own thing and like do what bands do. We'll have our own rehearsals. We'll write our own music. And he said, okay, I know a guy named Mike, and I'll call him. And let's meet at my house Saturday. And he was the drummer, this kid, Dylan. And he said, we got to go to his house, and his parents had soundproofed the garage. And it was just like that beautiful, typical story of a band of three kids starting a band in a garage. And that's where we were, literally. And we had that first rehearsal. We played some Misfits covers, and I think we did a Black Flag song, and had our own songs we were writing and starting, and hey, play these chords. And we played these, and we played what Mike had, we played what I had. And then after that rehearsal, Mike and I just became fast, instant friends. We were like, loved the same music. We both loved skateboarding. And within like 2 weeks, Dylan said, hey, I don't think this is going to work out, which was kind of funny because we really didn't have another rehearsal after that. Like, okay, wow, we didn't suddenly sound like ill repute or scared straight, and he wanted out. And Mike said, I know this guy named Eric who plays drums, and I'll call him. And then the very next rehearsal really was just me and Mike and Eric, who later became known as Smelly.
Yeah.
And we were a three-piece, me and Mike and Smelly. We were a three-piece for a couple of years. And we just started playing shows wherever we could play.
Yeah. Yeah, and here we are. Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
I can't believe we're here. We're gonna about ready to talk about a farewell, but I don't want to get to that yet. Okay, so the band, the band takes off. You guys get going. You guys start recording. Now let's jump more into like a little bit more of the current stuff. Now everybody has a favorite NOFX era, their favorite song, their favorite era of NOFX, and the nostalgia is deep for fans. Because of course you got to bring up all the Warp tours, of course touring around the globe, and I know it's impossible to pick out like your favorite moments, but I guess at this point it's all about remembering some of the best times or the worst and sharing stories. But like if you could just pick out a couple of your kind of best favorite times of this freaking rich history you guys built.
Yeah, I'd say right between recording S&M Airlines, Ribbed, it was like an exciting time. We had met Brett Gurewitz and we were starting to record at his studio.
Mm-hmm.
We'd actually done an album before then. And Epitaph Records was just starting to take off. And we were kind of discovering what we could do, in a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried really hard to play like better than we could play in real life. We were like, okay, let's do things we didn't think were possible and in the studio. And that's what we did. And then play more shows. We went to Europe. We had already gone to Europe for our first time, and there was the possibility of going back. It was all these like possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It was an exciting time.
Oh yeah.
And everything was just starting in that scene, that sort of Southern California, like skate punk scene.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the bands like Pennywise, The Offspring were just getting started as well. We were making this sound that was
define that era. Really define that era.
Yeah.
Break time. We'll be back. It's the Baco Tunes podcast with Matt Munoz.
He spent 15 years getting loaded, 15 years till his liver exploded. Now what's Bob gonna do now that he can't drink? The doctor said, what you been thinking about? Bob said, that's the point. I won't think about nothing. Now I gotta do something else. Pass the time and someone shaving, then he got a new identity. 62 old air cushion boots and a girl who rides a scooter to take him out of town. They would get away, riding around. As the trucks drive by, you can hear the motherfuckers go. A couple of lines and next to Thermos and Joe. He'll be kicking in heads at the punk rock show. Yeah, Bob's the kind of guy he knows just what. Bob's the kind of guy he knows just what to do. When the doctor tells him to quit your drinking, now's the time. Will he ever walk the line? To all my friends that feel just great, will he ever walk the line? Kicking ass and busting heads, red suspenders. Once a day he shaves his head, but will he ever walk the line? 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 Or will he ever walk the line?
You know what really makes us mad? Is wasting money on CDs with only 1 or 2 good songs.
Yeah. Tell them about punk.
Yeah, we got this CD called Punk. It's loaded with our favorite tunes, man.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Hey now, don't dream it so. You must think I'm crazy.
This Punk CD has 36 tunes, man, and I'm telling you, they're all great.
Yeah.
You also get Huey Lewis and the News.
I want a new drug.
You can only get this CD by calling this 800 number, man.
Yeah.
So call now.
To order Punk, call the number on your screen or send $26.95 for 2 CDs or $21.95 for 2 cassettes plus $4.95 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Rush delivery is available. Remember, this special offer is not sold in stores.
Now back to our show.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, you got the Tony Hawk Pro Skater in the video games, and kids are growing up and all that stuff, and they're being introduced to bands like NOFX and Offspring by either their big brother or something like that, and it just just keeps on going. Then then you get into the 90s. I mean, in the 90s, punk crosses over. Like you said, Epitaph is like making stars out of bands. NOFX has that crossover appeal. However, I mean, you guys have that crossover appeal amongst like the bands that are kind of moving on, but because the band is always mentioned in the same breath as groups, hitting those strides. And you say, well, I listen to Offspring, I listen to Green Day, Social D, Bad Religion, and NOFX. It's always going to be NOFX is going to be mentioned in the same breath. But a lot of these groups, they decide, well, we're going to, Bad Religion jump ships. They go to Atlantic. Everybody kind of goes their way. But it seems like NOFX still maintains that outsider reputation. Now, I've read the stories about why, but was there ever a struggle between the band to just surrender and say, let's make a lot of fucking money and just sign with a major?
I don't think it was any kind of real struggle. We did consider it. We considered it. We considered it a few times over that short period of years, and we could see very quickly what that did to bands. It sort of didn't really change their popularity so much for like Bad Religion, because they started getting played on the radio, but we had a song on the radio too. And we didn't need a major label for that. And there were a lot of bands that hit big and then were gone really quickly as well. And it was like, well, what happened there? So there was there's a whole new set of traps to avoid. And since we started from such beginner nothing. When we started playing shows, the audience was really just the other bands we were playing with. It was such a DIY scene that we were like, we felt increments of success. They were small, but they felt like success along the way. So it was kind of like we didn't feel we had to go for this sellout thing. We were like, you know what? We actually just had more people in Europe this year than we did the year before. It still wasn't a lot. We had 100, 150, but the year before we had 20. So we were like, okay, we're doing fine on our own. We don't really need that. But we were keeping an eye on what it was, the major label success stories. And it really didn't seem that much more beneficial. And we had things that we wanted to do. When we started, the whole thing was, we're doing this to do it. We want to just get in a van and play shows. Mm-hmm. We didn't really have much more aspirations than doing that, just doing it. Doing it was the reward.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, what Brett Gurwitz did with Epitaph and for a lot of bands, I mean, Fat Records ended up doing the same thing. I mean, it just kind of, boosted a lot of bands, got bands signed and pushed them out there. I mean, a lot of the bands that I came across, all of a sudden, they weren't on Epitaph, but they were on Fat Records. And so, I mean, when I look back at it now, it's like, man, they did it their way, and that's all right, man. I mean, because you guys ended up having, you know, a lot of tremendous success. I mean, whether it was monetary or, you know, were actually more important for the fans. I mean, the name NOFX is known around the world, so that's got a lot of value in it, much more than monetary value. Now I want to go back to push a little forward, because I was at the Rock Against Bush show in Bakersfield, 2004. I was I was up on the side stage, and I managed to be a fly on the bus with Jello and Fat Mike after the show. One of my friends said, "Hey man, let's go. You want to meet Jello and Fat Mike?" He took me in there. I still have the Truth About 9/11 DVD that they also autographed. I mean, it was a totally crazy night. You know, I remember Jello was doing his thing. Bakersfield being that red spot of the valley is yelling, and Jello's throwing stuff, and Jello is yelling back at the crowd. And I remember I was standing next to Mike when he ran out there to break up a bunch of fights. Like, he was out there trying to get people to fucking chill out. And eventually, everything cooled out. You guys came up, show went on. But I mean, like, when they used to have Rock Against Reagan, Rock Against Bush, then fast forward a little bit more the present, right after Trump is elected, you know, there were attempts to do the Rock Against Trump shows in 2016, but it was not the same. I mean, like, you saw, like, the so-called punks had begun leaning into Trumpism. I mean, did you guys ever think about bringing that tour theme back? Like, we're going to go out and do a Rock Against Trump, or like, or you guys are like, we don't want, it's not going to be as easy as it used to be?
Yeah, it got really, it's kind of hard to say what it was, but there was, when we did Rock Against Bush and Punk Voter, Mike really, he was determined to bring politics back and social awareness back into punk rock, because there was a bit of like a lot of that skate punk, the skate punk scene had sort of wasn't talking about this kind of stuff as much. And I think that Mike saw, and a lot of bands, you know, Green Day was getting huge, and I know they had quite a bit of, they had some punk, I mean, some politics in their punk, you know.
Well, not really until like American Idiot, but by that time, things had, you know, you guys had already kind of done that. I can't even remember when that album came out, before or after. I mean, the Rock Against Bush stuff.
Right. See, I know. I think about the timing of it all too, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. When did all that happen? But you know, I don't know. I mean, Mike, it's hard to do anything in a band if you don't have like all the band members on board. And we were on board for all that. And then it seemed like something happened to Mike, and he went really dark. He got really dark and depressed, and he was having some personal problems. And I think that made a lot of things that we were trying to do, made it harder. You know, we weren't like, I mean, it's like you need like four wheels on a car, and one of our wheels was just stuck, broken. You know, it went from like a round wheel that wanted to roll it to like some kind of non-rolling shape, like a square or triangle. And it could have been, you know, that when Bush won, you know, Mike had worked so hard, and I don't know exactly what happened for him, but it seemed like his drive to do that kind of thing was gone, and it was replaced with something else. You know, he started writing a lot more about, you know, his personal things and his personal preferences of S&M and stuff like that. S&M, you know, sex play, and it was like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's life. I mean, everybody starts growing up, and you get to that certain point in your life. And I know, you know, I saw the other F word, the documentary about, you know, him as a father and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
you got to see everybody's kind of sides and everything like that. But
Yeah.
and follow the thing of him and his kind of journey through the S&M stuff. You know, that's all played out. It's not like he's ever shied away from it. You know, it's
Yeah.
all out there for
He
everybody
didn't
to
hide
see.
He didn't hide it from anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's move into a little bit forward, like talking about creating a legacy. Does it blow you away that kids in some very remote areas of the planet are driving their parents crazy and forming bands the same way you guys did, playing along with NOFX?
Right. I think it's great. You know, I think it's great. That's all we've ever done is we just wanted to try to make our own sound, you know, say things that we thought were relevant. And we're lucky in a way that we found each other in the band and we agreed. You know, we all kind of felt that same way that the whole time. You know, it was like about inclusivity and thinking outside the box. I mean, that sounds pretty cliche, but it was something we always did. You know, we're like thinkers and philosophers in the band. You know, in our own sort of punk rock street way.
Mm-hmm. What do your kids think about the music and their dad and everything like that?
My kids love it, and they know that they're like, even some of their teachers know who my band is. Even
of course,
my kid's school he went to before, like the principal was a fan. You know, my son changed schools since then, but both my boys changed schools since then. But that principal, yeah, he came to one of our shows like a year and a half ago, and he's just, you know, yeah, it's a great thing because again, to me, it was about like inclusivity, talking about those things that are like, you know, usually swept under the rug. Like we're talking about like, you know, abuse, both physical and mental and emotional, verbal abuse. We were talking about how damaging those things could be and, you know, how easily swayed the public is by propaganda. All that stuff was in the lyrics of the songs and in things that we talked about off the stage as well. And I think my kids are proud of that because even that stuff seems to almost be taught in their schools now, at least in the schools that my kids go to.
Yeah.
You know, we did find a good school district. So, you know, they're trying to bring in art with parents, volunteer parents.
Oh, yeah.
And music. And I know that doesn't happen everywhere in the world. So I got to recognize that we're in a fortunate place.
Well, now you're in that
we're
music.
Fortunate to be in a place.
Oh, yeah, that music education part. Like now you become like a part of. Kids are learning how to play music. Like, well, you play your 4-chord stuff. Now you're going to go back and play your 2-chord stuff. You're going to have a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah. How many things? It's like all about how much great music can you make with just 2 chords.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
so much. Yeah, man. All right. Well, listen, I got a couple more questions for you.
Cool.
You know, you got like, okay, so here's the final tour. You got, you know, I love it. So it's like, well, it says 40 years, 40 cities, 40 songs per day. That was on the Punk and Drublic website. Like, how do you keep yourself conditioned?
I'm glad you asked that because that's been a passion of mine for a decade or more now. I sort of discovered meditation in like the 90s. I was like, oh, this seems like a cool thing, you know, like I wonder what that's about. And I found some books, Siddhartha and a book called Entering the Stream, and I just tried it and I felt the difference. I felt a little more calm. And then I was like, well, what's yoga about? And I was always an active kid. I was skateboarder, didn't discover surfing, but active and going to the gym and not trying to get like hugely buff, but just feeling how good it feels to move my body. So when I discovered yoga, I was like, this is great. You know, and NOFX kind of, when we started, there was a bit of like an undercurrent of like, there was the punk scene in LA, a lot of drugs, a lot of junkies, a lot of alcohol, and we were too young for it. And we were like, well, we don't want to do that thing because that's what everyone else is doing. And we want to go see bands, like we're not going to drink out front and get drunk and pass out in the alley and miss the band. So it was like a different take. Of course, there were plenty of kids who were doing straight edge. We weren't exactly straight edge. But that was my thing, to discover meditation and how does that fit, and yoga and how does that fit. And it felt great. And that sort of carried on as I kept going. I started before shows, I'd actually warm up and stretch a little bit to get ready for the show so I could feel at my peak energy of the day. And I discovered that you can do this like kind of breath work that went with meditation that would get your energy going. And it felt great. So it became part of my pre-show routine.
Well, good health is punk rock, man, because that means you're going to stick around to like lay it into the man. I mean,
yeah.
you gotta keep it going.
I think so. Oh yeah, and when we're on tour, like to me, I have great time when I'm on tour, but it's all about being at my peak energy when I hit the stage. So for me, whatever it takes, which is to me, doing some breath work, doing some warming up, doing some stretching, and then hit the stage like ready to go, feeling great and having a great time.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and I found a lot of things that worked for me, and I started to find other people who did that too, do meditation and, whatever it takes to keep yourself mentally fit and emotionally strong. And I'm actually, that's something I want to keep doing after these shows. When NOFX stops playing, I want to find more of that community of meditation, yoga people in the punk rock scene and see if I can keep that going. I'm hoping to teach some meditation and some breath work to punk rock fans, see how that works.
Heck yeah. No, I dig that, man. Excellent. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, you got the last 3 shows in October. I mean, you're going to do the Riot Fest first. So you got those shows. Those are going to be huge. And, you get to say Adios over there, but then you're going to be coming to Pedro, man. San Pedro, man. You got those 3 days. I know it's going to be very emotional for a lot of people. Of course, a lot of fans. Of course, you guys and your whole team and everything like that. But, what can the fans and what can everybody expect from those 3 days besides a lot of emotion?
Well, I intend to honor 40 years of NOFX punk rock. We're going to be going into the deep tracks because every day is going to be a different set of songs. So it's it's going to be like 80 songs or something we're going to play over 3 days, both at Riot Fest in Chicago and both and in LA. So we're gonna, gotta like remember how to play all those old songs. Practice that.
Oh man. Now, would it be safe to say or unsafe to say that, in true NOFX fashion, I mean, you follow the humor that you guys are known for, that we might get a retirement sucks tour and you guys are back, or is this it? No mas?
Well, I honestly, I didn't want to stop to begin with. This was not my idea to quit. This was just Mike. Mike was the one who wanted to quit. And so the band NOFX has to stop because we kind of can't. I don't see how we can keep going without him.
Yeah.
Although I have been singing a lot of the songs lately because his voice is just not cutting it anymore. But I'm getting distracted because I'm trying to No matter how punk you are, you're still going to look for parking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. And run errands and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty funny.
Well, I won't keep you on much longer. So yeah, so are you saying there's, because you're talking about your health and, Mike's voice and, there's only so far you can push it into at that full capacity.
I actually, right just before I talked to you, I was at a studio writing music. So I'm going to have an album of my own out.
Melvinator?
Next year. Well, I'm not sure what to call it just yet because I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be, how many songs. And, I've been talking, I still know all the same people that I've known all this time. I know I have people reaching out to me, hey, you want to write some music together? And do you want to I talked to Brett at Epitaph and Lewis Posen from Hopeless. And I'm just like, I don't want to stop. So I got to figure out exactly what it's going to be. But there's going to be something next year.
Yeah.
Eric Melvin, for sure.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
And, yeah.
Thank you guys for all the music. I got connected to your tour guitarist, John Graber, for some music projects that we worked together. He actually mixed my bands a couple. It was like the post-COVID stuff when people were looking for things to do and nobody was working. And he's like, hey, I got the studio, so somebody referred me to him. And then we did a Christmas album, Halloween ska stuff, and it turns out that we had been connected to the Moon Ska back in the day, but he was really good. And then when he started working with you guys, he goes, hey man, I'm going to be super busy with NOFX, but let's mix this album down. And he's just a great guy. I was so happy for him because he was stoked to work with you guys.
Oh yeah. We're good friends now. We traveled a lot together. We've been on stage a lot together, and, just even having dinner before a show or something, he and I, we're close.
Nice. Right on, man.
Great guy.
Hey, well, Melvin, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being candid, and be safe out there driving, and make sure you get your stuff done for your wife, because I know how that is. You got to get that stuff done, and
got to get it done.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see you in Pedro, man, and look forward to the show. I promise not to cry, but I'm probably going to cry.
Yeah, I'll probably cry too. Don't worry. But if you see me, will you please come up and say hi so I know I can know your
Absolutely.
face?
Absolutely.
Cool, Matt.
All right, brother.
Great to meet you, bud.
Yeah,
see you, brother.
Same here. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Possessions never meant anything to me. I'm not crazy. Well, that's not true. I've got a band.
The Bako Tunes podcast with Matt Munoz. New episodes every week. And for the latest, be sure to follow us at Bako Tunes on Instagram. That's BAKOTUNES. And be sure to like us, rate us, comment at us, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back next time.
Like, he's more punk than me. Well, blow me down. He's more punk than me.
Okay, do the other guy. Do Speedy Gonzalez.
This guy's more punk than me. Yeah.
Do slower Rodriguez.
Well, how can we get that cheese without a pussy gato? This guy's more punk than me.
Okay, do Blueberry Hound.
Oh, my darling. Well, this guy's more punk than me.
What else you got?
I don't think the ranger's gonna like this, Yogi. This guy's more punk than me. Back to the kitchen. I smell something burning.
That in there? Coffee, large fries, cheeseburger? Hello? You guys got that in there? Go away. We're like close or something. He's like more punk than me. Hello? That guy's more punk than me. You got that in there?